with all the interior videos we've been doing recently, removing the back seat, removing the rear uprights and so on, and looking in the boot and so on, stuff like that, what I thought I'd try and do is just do a quick video about how to remove the seats. We want to do a video soon about how to do a deep clean on the interior. We're going to be cleaning the carpet. We're going to be really, going to work on it. So to make that a bit easier, what we want to try and do is give us some really easy access by getting the seats completely out of the way. So we know that in the Giulietta, we've got airbags in the seats themselves. So firstly, what we need to do is make sure we're working safely and disconnect the battery so that we're not going to trigger anything. So we just need to remove the negative terminals. So we're going to start with this one. Just pushing the red lever, give it a wiggle, and up it comes. Then we've got this 10mm nut here. So with that nicely loosened off, we should just then be able to remove the terminal. There we go, and we just set that aside. By all accounts, we need to leave it 20-30 minutes now, just to let any capacitors discharge that are holding any energy that could still have a potential to trigger those airbags. So I'll come back to you in 20 or 30 minutes. It's been 28 minutes now since we disconnected the battery, so I'm happy that anything that needed to discharge hopefully has discharged. So the first thing that we're going to do is try and remove the plugs. So underneath the front seat here, we're just on the right hand side of the car, or the driver's side in the UK, we've just got this kind of panel. It's just got this little tab on the top, so I'm just going to pull that off. That should just pop off nicely. There we go. You can just see it's just got a little popple fix in there, and then there's a bit of velcro just holding this on. You can just slide it out. A bit more velcro on this side. There we go. You can see that velcro there, hopefully, and on there as well. I'm just going to set that aside. We can give that a clean up in a minute as well. And here we can now see the electrical plug, which is the connection for the seat. So there's two wires on the seat. They both come into this one same plug. So looking at the plug, let's have a look, see exactly what we got. So what it looks like we've got is basically in this grey clip, there's actually a secondary yellow clip. I'm just going to slide out. Hopefully you can just about see that coming to shot right there now. And I think what that'll enable us is to just pull that grey clip out. Potentially as that comes out, the whole thing just lifts up. There we go, perfect. So it's just a case of sliding this grey section out in that direction, and as that happened, it just lifted up, and now that's the seat safely disconnected. There's a little cable tie there, a little popper that you can see just goes into a hole there. So just lifted that up, and that's now the wiring loom loose. And actually fixing the seating, what we've got running on these rails, if we can just focus on that point over there, there we go. You can just about see that there's a Torx head there. It is a T40, I think it is. We've just got the one there, we've just got the one over here, and then there's the same slide rails at the back as well. So we'll just loosen these two off, and then we'll go around to the back. And then just taking this one out, we can just see how long they are, just like that. On this one over here, what we can actually see is the fixing is underneath. Okay, and with those four fixings released, what we should be able to do now is hopefully just remove the seat by lifting it up and sliding it out the door. Well, it was quite a struggle, but it's out. One of the things that I found that I had to do was where we slid the seat all the way forward to get to those two rear fixings. What I needed to then do was actually slide it back so that the rails were as short as possible. So coming out the door, they weren't going to fail on stuff. What I then also had to do was kind of put the seat in almost a 90-degree position, so the back was pretty much almost upright. What that then allowed me to do was, once you kind of leaned the seat forward, so it was kind of, the B pillar was, or it was kind of in front of the B pillar, you could then pull the seat forward, kind of lean it out this way, get it around a little bit, rotate it, and then kind of what I found was the easiest thing for carrying it was kind of get it in a headlock, you know, get your arm around the headrest, and then you can really kind of hoik it up and lift it up like that. It's a heavy old unit, but lifting it up like that makes a light work of it. And I forgot to mention as well, before we lifted it out, what I did with the plug was just kind of looped it over the top of the rail at the bottom there, and that just kept it in place and kind of held it so it didn't just trail along the floor. So now looking at the floor here, what can we see? Obviously we've got our main fixings here. I'm guessing that's kind of a locating pin as well. Same over here. At the back here, we've just got that one that kind of went in sideways, so that's fine. And then this one exactly the same, just with the fixing now. Our floor air passage, the plug for the seat, that fixing for that kind of cover bit that we said about, they just come on here with the Velcro. That's pretty much it really. So like I say, we're going to be going for a deep clean soon, so we'll be cleaning all this out, getting the crisps out. I was hoping to find a few pounds, to be fair, see if I could make a bit of money while I'm doing this. So perhaps for now, I'll just give it a quick hoover up just to get rid of the worst of it, and then we'll look at putting the seat back and what's involved with that. I'll point out as well that I've not adjusted the seat while it's been out of the car. I've not lifted it up or down, moved the sliders or anything like that, or adjusted the back angle. Hopefully, it's just going to be a case of bringing it in and kind of trying to do what we did in reverse. Okay, brilliant. So that's gone back in really nicely. The only thing that I had moved, seemingly, was just the headrest, where I had it kind of in a headlock, lifting it up. That had actually lifted up, so when I tried to slide it in, I just had to pause just to let that drop down, so it cleared the door frame here. What we also had underneath, I don't know if you saw back when the seat was out in the driveway, just behind the fixing here, there was kind of a little blue lug. That lug is the locating pin. When we looked at the fixings here, that locating pin sits in that second hole, so it was really easy just to line it up just by eyeing it and making sure that that went into there. On this one, the hole wasn't exposed, so I just lifted up the lever, pulled the slider forward, and now it's perfectly lined up. So I'm going to get these two in. We'll just have a quick look in the back first, make sure that they're lined up as well, and then we can fix these four back down. So with all four bolts nicely done up, they're all aligned. These two and the rears as well, you can see I put the mat back in at the back. Last thing to do is just get this plug back on. We need to make sure that plug is out. Offer that back in. And just as it goes down, it wants to slide in of its own accord. And there we go. It felt pretty positive going in. It's not going to come out, it's not going anywhere. So we'll just give that a once over, and then we can get the battery reconnected. The one last thing I forgot to mention, that little yellow tab that was just there, just make sure that once that's in, you just slide that in and pop that back in, and that will just act as a safety feature. So it's always worth to check these things just over once more time. Right, let's get this bit of plastic on. So straight simple, remember we've got these Velcro points as well, so I think it's easier to get it under this side first. There we go, and then we should just see our tab come up through the hole here. Just make sure that Velcro's on nicely. And we've got a little fixing popper, just goes on over the top, and there we go, that's back in place. So getting this terminal back on, just going to start with this point first, straight back on, 10mm socket straight on that, just loosen that by fingers first if it needs it, and back on, there we go, and then we connect up the main negative. clicks on nicely. Just heard a little spark as it connected there, so just make sure it did it nice and confidently and straight on. So we're back in the car now. The bonnet's down, the seat's in, the plug's on, keys in the ignition, ready to go. The sun's on the dashboard, so I'm not sure how much we're going to see, but I'll see if I can cover it up. So as when disconnecting the battery, we know the procedure from when we did the changing the battery video. So hopefully what we're going to see, if I just turn the ignition on, 1, the airbag won't go off. Just move it to position 2, there we go. And it says right front door open. If I shut that properly, there we go. If you can see that just about, have the power steering checked, see steering corrector, the time's flashing again as ever, and I think the other one is VDC. There we go, VDC unavailable. So that's exactly what we're expecting. No more error messages, that's it. So let's start it up. Fantastic. And then as ever, what we did before, full lock, full lock. I think then back to the middle, ignition off, key out, key back in, start it up again. If I hold my hand out, hopefully we can see. We've just got the date up, all the error messages have gone, but we're all back to normal. The receipt is back where it is. It's all nice and clean underneath, and we're a winner. Brilliant, so that's really useful. So we're only just going to do the one seat. The other seat's exactly the same. I've not had a look at it. I'm just presuming it is. Maybe I should go and have a look at it now. Yeah, so the other seat is exactly the same. So we're not going to worry about doing that. It's just going to be exactly the same as doing this. Removing the plug, obviously isolating the battery first, removing the plug, removing those 4 bolts, and then removing it out. The only one thing that I would say that would probably be useful, just to make the chair a bit smaller, is obviously lowering it down to its minimum height. When the missus drives it, she has it up about 10-15 pumps up or so, something like that. So yeah, maybe just lowering that down all the way as low as it will go, and obviously lifting the steering wheel up so you've got as much height between here and here just to turn the chair around and get it out. So hopefully for now that's been useful to someone. Like I say, if you've enjoyed it, give us a like down below. If you're not subscribed, then give us a subscribe coming up here now. Like I say, the more subscribers I get, the more videos I make. You know, I'm getting quite a few subscribers, which is really good, but the channel's really still young. I've still got so many videos that I want to do. We've got a whole load to do inside the car yet, let alone all the stuff like doing the brakes, the rear brakes, front brakes, discs, pads, changing the shocks. We've got the front springs to do, so much to do yet, so much to do. So yeah, please do subscribe coming up here, right, hopefully up here now. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.